The pieces that make up these rocks come in lots of different sizes. We've got big pieces that we call pebbles, and from there they get very small. We have pieces of sand. You might have heard of sand, like at a beach. Then we have something called silt, and the smallest one of all is called clay. So we'll learn all about sand, silt, and clay. Now, how do we get these pieces? Well, these pieces come from other rocks. And you can see that rocks get beat up. They get smashed and broken. They can get broken by water that freezes, and it'll get in the cracks and it'll freeze and break the rock apart. We have the sun, which can cause the rock to dry out and crack. We have roots from plants that can break up rocks. We have water and wind. This is called weathering. Weathering is beating up the rocks into pieces. I want you to say that one. Weathering. Thank you. And then when they get carried away by the wind and the water, that's called erosion. We always say weathering and erosion. Break them and carry them. Okay? Sediments and weathering. Now, when we get the sediments, sometimes they're jagged and rough and sharp, like corners, edges, and sometimes they're smooth, right? Like pebbles at the beach. And the difference is water. When there's lots of water, the pebbles get smooth and round. And when there's no water, they get sharp and jagged. Okay, so there are three kinds of sedimentary rocks. And today we're only going to learn about the first kind, and it is called clastic. And clastic means broken. See how we have glass that somebody dropped and it broke? That's broken. So clastic is from the Greek word, and it literally means broken or pieces. Now, how do those pieces make a rock? Well, they get squeezed. Right here we have a big bulldozer that's running over it and flattening it out and smoothing it, smashing it. And when we get done, the rocks look like this. They have pieces in them, almost like coarse igneous rocks. Clastic means broken. And here are those words again. You're going to need to know these words. The big pieces, the bigger ones, are called gravel or pebbles. The medium or middle pieces are called sand, and the tiny squished pieces are called silt and clay. Big, medium, and small. Good, nice job. You guys are awake, you're paying attention. And we always have to remember that water is important. Water helps make these pieces and also decides where they eventually end up. So we find gravel and big round pebbles near the beach. We find sand out in the water a little bit, and where it's really deep and all that water is pushing down, it squeezes the tiny pieces together. That's silt and clay. Deep water, shallow water, beach. Big, medium, small. Here you can see all the sizes. We have big boulders that are breaking from the cliff. We have medium pieces, pebbles and gravel. We have sand, and way out here would be the silt and the clay. And it would be slippery. Now, because all that water is pushing down really hard, you ever been to the bottom of a swimming pool and you can feel it in your ears? It pushes on you, pressure. When you're down there, it's because the water is heavy, okay? And the pebbles down there get squeezed so tight that no water can get through them. We say that is impermeable. No water can get through. But when it's bigger pieces, gravel, pebbles, and sand, there's little holes between where water can get through. Okay, so we can look at these rocks and say, are they permeable or impermeable? And it turns out that gravel and sand are permeable and silt is impermeable because it's too small, crushed together by all the water.